Okay, methods and meaning number 2. This is domain and range. So we've been working with this today. There's different ways to remember. I want to hear from you guys. How are you going to remember? Because you do need to remember that domain is for X and range is for Y. So do you have any tips on how to remember that? Okay, well, one is that X comes before Y in the alphabet, right? And do you see how D comes before R in the alphabet? So why don't you write that in your own words for the answer there? So I'm giving you a possibility for an answer here. X comes before Y. Alphabet. And D comes before R, right? Domain comes before range. So if you... Alright. So then, one of the it's hard to actually tell what the domain and range is from looking at an equation, but you've actually been doing a wonderful job today. It's easier when you look at a graph, and this is what you're going to practice for your homework too, is looking at a graph and saying what the domain and range are. So I'm going to explain these and show you a different notation. So let me explain these. Here, the domain, when they're separate points, is called discrete. So would you write that vocabulary word in your notes? Discrete means the points are not connected. And sometimes discrete points make more sense to use depending on the story. Whereas this is continuous. When you connect all the points, that would be called continuous. So you have another vocab word that should go in your notes. Discrete, continuous. And then let me explain, the domain here is just these separate points. -1 is right here, 1 is there, 2 is there, and then range is for Y values are 1, 2, and -2. Are there any questions on A, why that's the domain and range? You're just looking at each point. The coordinates, if you want to add this, the coordinates here are 2, -2, the coordinates here are 1, 2, and here it's -1, 1. So look at the x's, -1, 1, and 2 are listed. The range is -2, 1, and 2 are listed. So that's how you say the domain and range. Here, let's look at the domain. When you look at domain, you go from right to left. So do you see how x is between -1 and 1? And it includes a closed dot, means include. So let's add that. It's right on our notes. That means to include the point when it's a closed dot. When it's an open dot, it means do not include. So if you look from right to left, which x is, right, from right to left, the graph only goes from -1 to 1, and it doesn't include 1, so you just use a less than symbol. These inequalities always point to the left. And that means this means x is, in words, it means x is between -1 and 1. That's what this means in words. But you include -1, you don't include 1. And then for y, if you look up and down, the lowest y value is -1 and the highest is 2. And so that's that notation. So let's look here at this one. Actually, I'm going to show you, has anyone seen this notation? Let me write this. This is called set notation. Well, are there any questions on B about domain and range? Domain is look right and left, and range is look up and down. Because that's Y, right? Range is Y. Look up and down. So if you look up and down, the lowest is -1, the highest is 2. So in set notation, you could go like this, and the answer key for tonight's homework will be in this set notation. You could say y is between -1 and 2, and this bracket means include, and that means don't include. You do not need to know this or do this if that doesn't make sense, but if you like it and it's faster, then you can. And often higher math classes use set notation. So here's your two choices for your answers for homework tonight. You either use inequalities like this, or use set notation. Let's look at C, and then you're going to try D. So C, if you look from right to left, do you see how x is greater than equal to -1? And the way in set notation of writing that would be x is greater than -1, like that. You would say from -1 to infinity. So it's your choice. And then if you look up and down, the lowest value of y is -1, and then the arrow says it goes up forever. So y is also from -1 to infinity. Infinity is always open, is always do not include. You can't include infinity in your answer. You would never put a bracket. You would put parentheses. So let's try D with inequalities. I can't pause this, but yeah, I'm just going to stop and then we'll talk about D together. You try it. It won't go on the video.